Hello again, Gina here with the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. Excited to be back doing more stroller reviews. And what are we comparing today? Well, we are going to compare the two strollers that you see back here. In the soft olive color, we have the Ergobaby Metro 3, and then the stroller you see immediately next to it is going to be the Butterfly 2 compact stroller from Bugaboo. So, similarities, differences, what are we talking about? We will get into all of that, but before we do, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We are doing a ton of travel stroller reviews right now. So if you are looking for a travel stroller for the summer or the upcoming holiday season, really smart time to be subscribing to this channel. Additionally, if it makes sense to share this video with a friend or family, go ahead and share it. Sharing is caring. You can like the video as well, or you could leave a comment. We love that. Now, on top of that, if you really like this channel and you feel that it is worthwhile content, you should show your support by buying something directly off my website, destinationbabykids.com. I'm a real brick and mortar store here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Again, destinationbabykids.com. You could check out either the Butterfly 2 or the Ergo Metro 3, both on my website. Look at all the colors, all the cool accessories, and if you want something, we can ship it right to your home for free. So something to keep in mind. Okay, commercials over. Let's launch into what makes these two bad boys special, what makes them similar, and what makes them different. All right. So, again, the green stroller over here on my left, the viewer's right, is going to be the Ergobaby Metro 3. And then on directly in front of me here in this beautiful navy color, midnight navy, this is going to be the Bugaboo Butterfly 2 compact travel stroller. So both of these are going to be IATA certified for the overhead bin. So if you wanted to stick them in the overhead compartment, theoretically you could do that. You do need to check with your airline before you fly, so that is on you. Make sure that you do that. We always want to say that. But again, they look very, very similar. So what is going to make them different? Well, let's figure it out. Okay, so looking at them just at the start, I'd point out that Bugaboo does have the longer sunshades. So that's one thing that this guy is going to win. You do have the additional piece here, which tucks underneath, and then those sunshades look more comparable. So Bugaboo does give you just that a little bit extra of sun coverage, which as an auntie to redheads is something I would always point out because it's a very nice feature that I actually like a great deal. Okay. Both strollers have liners, which is really cool. That's included in the purchase price. They are removable. They do both go under the butt of kiddo, and they are able to come out for washing. So that is very nice. I'm just curious here. Okay, so one thing I'm going to say about this liner situation for both of these guys, and I did point this out in another video about the Ergo. I wish Ergo, when you removed the liner on the back seat where the Velcro is, that they wouldn't put the sticky, uncomfortable Velcro on the part that the kiddo could theoretically sit back down on, right? So like, I think they should change the soft Velcro and the hard Velcro orientation around on this product so that if you do remove the liner and the kiddo wants to sit in the seat, they're not gonna be sitting up against tough Velcro. But for now, Bugaboo is gonna win that because when you remove it, there isn't anything on the seat for the kid to be uncomfortable with. So just some minor differences that I'm noticing here when I look at them immediately, okay? But let's get into our spec sheet before I go all off the rails and start giving you information that you don't care about. All right. Price point, Ergo Metro 3 is going to be $349, and our Bugaboo Butterfly, of course, because it's Bugaboo, going to be more expensive, clocking in at a $599 price point. The warranty for the Ergobaby is 2 years. Now again, Ergo does this whole like lifetime warranty thing. You can go on their website and read about it. I would still argue it's probably more realistically a 2-year warranty on the stroller. With Bugaboo, it's either a 3 or a 4 year. So Bugaboo has top of the line customer service. If something were to go wrong with this, it's a really nice feature that you do get that additional warranty. So something we would want to point out in that price point. One thing that both of these strollers do super well is a very, very upright starting seated position. So both of these strollers start anywhere between 105 and 110 degrees of upright incline, depending on how tightly you pull them. So if you're going to pull them like endlessly, you're going to get it super duper upright. But this is very important for some parents. They want as close to a 90 degree as they can get. These two are great choices for that because they do sit in a very, very upright seated position, both starting at about, I'd argue, 105 degrees, okay? Something else that you would notice that's very cool about the Bugaboo that's actually different than all the travel strollers is that you do get a bit of a heel stirrup You don't get that on the Ergo Metro 3. Again, I don't think that's a huge problem considering 99.9% of strollers are like this where you don't have the heel stirrup. So this is a very exciting feature on Bugaboo that is offered on this product. So if that is something that's important to you, I would always point out that Bugaboo is the only travel stroller currently that offers that heel stirrup, which is a really sweet feature. Also, Bugaboo's foot plate is adjustable with a single hand adjustment, whereas with Ergo, it's going to be two-handed with 2 fingers. Again, for that price difference, not super surprising, but something that we would point out to the viewing audience. Okay, specs-wise. Weight. The weight of the Butterfly is 16 pounds, so it's very lightweight. Our Ergo Metro 3 is 17. I'd argue maybe even a little bit heavier than that. It does feel heavier than the Bugaboo. Not by a lot, but just by a little bit. You can definitely tell it's there. The backrest height, so both of them have a very tall backrest, which is great. Our Ergo Metro is going to be a 20-inch backrest, and our Bugaboo 2 is going to be a 21-inch backrest. Our canopy clearance, that means how much space do we have from the butt to the top of the canopy before it bumps into kiddo's head. Bugaboo is going to give you 26 inches of canopy clearance. With Ergo Metro 3, it is a 24-inch canopy clearance. So both are excellent, or about 24.5. So nice canopy height. Harness minimums and maximums. Bugaboo starts with a shorter harness height, so 8.5 going all the way up to 14.5. And our Ergo Metro 3 starts at 9 and goes all the way up to 14.5. So pretty comparable. Our seat width on both is plenty wide, so you get 13 inches on your Ergo and you get 12 on your Bugaboo. The seat depth on both is 9 inches deep. The crotch belt depth on both is very equivalent to on Bugaboo. It's about 4 inches deep. On your Ergo, it's about 4.5 inches deep. So similar but different. Leg extension, that's this little piece that clicks out here. On Bugaboo, you're looking at a 6-inch extension, and on Ergo, you're looking at 6.5 inches of extension. So they're both excellent for that. The knee drop, which means when we drop kiddos' knees all the way down to the very, very bottom of the stroller. On Bugaboo, you're looking at a 12-inch knee drop, and on Ergo, it's a 13-inch knee drop. So they're both pretty similar. Handle heights. Okay, this is where Ergo is going to win every time. Ergo is really smart because they give parents an adjustable handle height. So as you can see, Ergo on my shorty is about 40 inches. On Bugaboo here, we're at about 40.5. When I set Ergo to a pivoting taller handle height, we come all the way up to 43 inches, okay? So remember, this is a $350 product, and this is the one that gives us a height adjustable handle. Bugaboo, you're gonna have to be cool with the one handle height being 40.5 inches. So if you're a taller individual, something to keep in mind here with Ergo, again, is that adjustable handle height and that 43-inch tall handle height. Very, very tall. Most brands can't touch that. Now, they both have a 5-point pop-off buckle. Bugaboo's is, I would argue, better. I mean, it's clearly more expensive with the type of fabrics that they're using and the pieces to pop off. But for the fabric and for the price that you're getting on $350 with Ergo, it is still an excellent, excellent value, and the quality of the material is excellent on that too. So I don't think this is like a million times superior, but hey, if you were just asking my opinion out of the blue, for sure I like the 5-point buckle on the Bugaboo, but that's across their entire range, so I think that's a very successful buckle, and that's just personal preference, right? So everybody's gonna have their opinion. Take it for what it is. Another thing to keep in mind is the fashion on the Bugaboo Butterfly 2 is very, very slick. You have the harness that matches the backrest, so it's all this beautiful blue indigo, and then you have a matching canopy. If we want different colors on Ergo, this section, the seat, the underneath seat, and the basket always remain the same. The only part that changes is the top, is the canopy. So again, not a big difference, but if you are a fashionista and this would be something that would bother you, I would always give a little bit of an edge to Bugaboo. They're designed in the Netherlands, you know, the looks are always much more sleek, more European, so I think if fashion is something that is important to you, while Ergo definitely has a lot of cute sporty colors, I would argue there's no question that Bugaboo is going to be a more fashionable product, like be serious. So something to keep in mind. But they both look great, right? It's just personal preference. The basket capacity. So the Bugaboo basket holds 17.6 pounds. Our Ergo holds 22. Basket size. Ergo is 20 deep and 12 wide, whereas Bugaboo is 20 deep and 11.5 inches wide. So the baskets are very, very comparable on these guys in terms of size. However, Our front opening and back opening on Bugaboo is just a little bit bigger. So you've got 7 inches on the front, and I guess I wrote 7 inches on the back, although that to me seems like it could be wider. If you wanted to fold this down, this could be enormous. So it really could be significantly larger than that. Our Ergo, we don't have that option to fold this little guy up or down, so maybe not, you know, again, it's half the price, so not surprising. But just something to be aware of there. Our back opening on Ergo is 6 inches versus our front opening is 6.5. So Bugaboo definitely has a more like generously accessible basket. And it is, of course, accessible from the front or the back. And our front opening on Bugaboo is going to be 7. And like I said, 7 on the back. So both nice options. Now, both of these will work for a newborn, but we're going to talk about that at the very end of the video. The Ergo does not have a sandal-friendly brake. The Bugaboo definitely does. So if you're wearing sandals like I am today, Bugaboo will not wreck them. I'm dumb enough to buy designer sandals, so for me this actually matters. But if you have a pedicure or even just don't want to get a blood blister on your toe, nice feature, sandal-friendly brake. Again, only travel stroller with the heel stirrup is going to be Butterfly 2. They both will have a one-handed fold, and they're both not going to have the handle touch the floor when they're folded. Now, we talked about their upright incline. Let's talk about the recline on both of these products. So something that is very special about Ergo, no question, is that it's one of the deepest, if not the deepest recline pretty much on the market for like a travel stroller. So this is nearly 180 degrees of like perfectly flat recline, plus this is 36 inches. So again, great for newborn, but a bigger value with either style is that this is flat enough to do a diaper change on the go, plus you have the liner if it gets dirty to be able to wash that. Now, Bugaboo Butterfly 2, something that's been very interesting to me is that they are advertising it as from birth. When you recline the seat all the way back, this is not as deep of a recline as what you get on the Ergo. This should be visually apparent in this video from you guys looking at these right now. But in case it's not, this Bugaboo is significantly more upright in its most reclined position versus our Ergo. Ergo is nearly 180. I described Bugaboo, I think, in another video as like 150. So it does recline, but it is surprising to me that they say that this is newborn compatible. They would argue, hey, it could work for a newborn, you could throw them in there, but we want you to use the car seat for sure for the first 3 months. That would be our preference. That's the way Bugaboo explained this to me. I don't think you would have this problem with Ergo ever. And if you watch more of my Ergo video, you'll see like the individual one, this whole foot piece can come out and create a little apron. It's very, very cool. Nice feature for a newborn. Not gonna get into that in this video because Bugaboo doesn't have anything similar, but something to just keep in mind if you did want a deeper recline, Ergo for sure is gonna give you a deeper recline. That being said as well, another thing that I found interesting on Ergo that's missing on a lot of these high-end travel strollers, this one included, is that when we do go into recline mode here, we're actually given a mesh panel of ventilation on the back and on the top. Whereas with Bugaboo, we only get the mesh ventilation on the one top panel. Now I'll give them credit that they took it off the gussets so that you would always get it and it can be covered, whereas before it was a gusseted ventilated panel that had to be either open or closed. But it is frustrating to me that they don't have any type of opening on the backrest here for some air to move through for a really hot day. That's our alarm telling me that I need to keep moving on the video. So we'll fold them up and then we'll just be done for you guys here for today. I'm just sitting this up right now. And as you can see, making it nice and upright for a nice big kid. And it's sort of the same story here when you want to sit it up. I'm going to go ahead and close off my vent, which I didn't get on my Bugaboo, and I am going to tighten this. And another cool thing about Ergo is that they have a hidden pocket on the backrest of the stroller's seat. So if you wanted to hide an air tag, I always joke you can hide your cigarettes back there. You know, you wouldn't do that, but it does have a nice little pocket. Don't put more than a pound in it, but just something to be aware of between the two. Neither one have a front locks to lock the front tires. And again, both of these are wider set wheels in the front and narrower in the back. So this is more of a European styling where your front tires are a little wider. Does make the stroller, I feel, more nimble, agile, easier to turn. I did fill these both up with weight and push them around the store. They push pretty similarly. I'd argue the Bugaboo is a hair nicer, but I don't know if it's worth twice the price. Like, that's the thing that you'd have to keep in mind. So fold on Ergo, pretty simple, pretty fast. I wouldn't say it's self-folding, but it's pretty dang close. Bugaboos fold, not self-folding, but super easy, super small. And they both have a travel strap if you want to utilize them that way. My argument is that Bugaboo is definitely smaller, lighter weight, more fashionable, and has a similar type of car seat adapter that Ergo does. So they would work for Nuna's, Cybex, Maxi Cozy, Kleck, and Peg Prego with the purchase of a separate adapter. But again, those are not included in the purchase price. It's just kind of like what you see is what you get with both. And both have a very easy opening. I would argue Bugaboo's opening is a little less clunky than Ergo's, but again, for the price, twice the price, it better dang well be a little bit easier. Okay, hopefully this answers some questions for you guys. I don't have a definite on which way I land here. I like them both for very different reasons, and I would like them both in different settings. You know, if I was going somewhere and I had a different size partner and it would make sense for us to have an adjustable handle, and maybe it would make sense to have the deeper recline, maybe it would make sense not to have a flashy brand. Maybe I'm going someplace where I don't want to stand out that way to anybody like on vacation. I'd rather just seem more unassuming with something more cost effective. That's going to be Ergo. If I want to make a splash and I'm intentionally excited about showing off what I have and being very, very easy breezy, lightweight, know I'm getting the best quality, best value for dollar under the sun, Bugaboo is a really nice option for that type of consumer. So I think they're both great choices. It just depends on what matters to you as a purchaser.